Hello and welcome to Tech Spotlight. Today I'm going to be talking about my personal HP 14-inch laptop, talking about the overall specs, upgrades I've made, and giving my overall consensus. So guys, let's check it out. Now to get started, I've had this laptop now for about 2 years, and I have a lot of hours that I've spent on this laptop right here. It's my primary workstation for all my YouTube recording, editing, etc. So I wanted to start talking about the overall specs. So the screen resolution, this is a 1920 by 1080p screen resolution, so it's full HD. The hard drive, it is an SSD that has 128 gigs of storage. It is running an AMD Ryzen 3 processor, and the way that the GPU works on these is that any available RAM, the system will dedicate 2 gigs of your available RAM to run your GPU, or what most would call your graphics card. Now, when I first bought this laptop, it had 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM in it, and I did eventually upgrade that to 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM from Crucial, and that was a great choice. Now that brings me to my next point. Let's check out all the nerdy stats on this. Alright, so right now we're inside my task manager, and I just wanted to go over some of these stats. So you can see right here that the CPU is utilizing fluctuating between like 35 and 37, a couple of spikes up to like 40 and 50% of CPU utilization. And this is the AMD Ryzen 3 3250U with the Radeon graphics that I talked about. So you can see that the speed, it's fluctuating anywhere from like 2.3 to 2.35 gigahertz. Next, let's talk about the memory. So, like I said, I do have 16 gigs of RAM installed in this. It is showing the 13.9 because 2 is being utilized for the GPU. Now the reason why I ended up upgrading to 16 gigs is if we look down here where it says that in use, it's showing that about 7.2 gigs of RAM is currently being utilized. So when I was running this with just the 8 gigs of RAM that was supplied with the laptop, I found that it quite frequently was crashing, or programs were just lagging and running very slow. My CPU utilization was constantly like 80 to 100%. So upgrading that RAM alone really helped out the laptop overall. And now let's check out the GPU. So again, this will show that it has 2 gigs available, and my GPU pretty constantly stays right around that like 50 to 55. Of course, it could be a little bit better, but right around that utilization. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is the GPU temperature. So right now it's fluctuating in that high 60s to 70 degrees Celsius. So the GPU does get pretty hot, which, mentioning that the GPU getting hot brings me to my next point. On this particular laptop, the exhaust fan is actually on the very bottom of the case. It does have enough surface area down there to get all of the hot air out. The bad thing with it being directly on the bottom of the case is that if you have it on a table or your lap or desk, it's going to blow all that hot air right onto the table, which is going to make your table hot, and it's not actually dissipating the heat. So it's going to make your case get hot, and is going to make your GPU run hotter. It's going to make your CPU run a little bit hotter. That's probably why I'm seeing some spikes on it. And, you know, long term, that could cause your motherboard to get hot, which may cause, you know, some other problems later down the road. Saying that brings me to my next point. So right now I'm recording, so I don't have this running, but when I'm doing my editing, I actually have a laptop cooling pad that I will put my laptop on. That's got a nice metal mesh grate on the front of it, and it's got 3 fans here that will help keep the CPU and the GPU and everything running much cooler. So when I'm editing, I'm able to utilize that much more, which in my opinion really helps. I'm seeing faster times when my videos are rendering. I'm seeing less lag when I'm editing a larger file and things like that. So next, I wanted to test on this laptop. I want to open up my video editing software here, so that way you guys can see how quick some of these softwares will open up. So guys, I got you on my main screen here, so I'm going to open up my PowerDirector software so we can see about how long it's going to take to open. Because we all know that some of these video editing softwares are very hefty programs, so let's see how snappy it is. So Not too bad. I want to say it was probably around that 10 to 15 second mark. Again, not absolutely amazing, but also not bad for what I have done to this laptop and how long I've had it. Now, I also want to point out that running some of these tests, just so you guys are aware and seeing some of the utilization stats, I am currently running my HyperX SoloCast microphone through my PowerDirector screen recorder software. I also have PowerDirector open. I also have my Anker PowerComp C200 microphone plugged into this, and I've also got my HP wireless mouse plugged in. So some of the utilization that you guys are seeing is also running all of this stuff that is recording everything that you guys are seeing. Overall for this laptop, it's not too bad. Would I like to have a nice beefy laptop? Absolutely. But as a small content creator, that's someone that's growing and building up to that, this laptop is going to suit my needs probably for the next few years to come until I can get to that point. Now guys, I went ahead and pulled up the listing of this laptop. So this will show it's the HP 14 AMD Ryzen 3, the 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gig SSD. So this has a normal retail price of $287. I want to say when I bought this laptop, I believe I got it around Prime Day, and I think I paid somewhere around $225 or $230 for it. So for a laptop that was $230, and like I said, I mentioned I did upgrade the RAM. The RAM I want to say cost me about 40 or 45 bucks. So for roughly the normal retail price, I've bought the laptop and I've doubled the amount of RAM that I have available, and I've been able to utilize this now for 2 years, and it has served me very, very well. So I mainly wanted to point out that you can buy cheaper laptops like this and do very minor upgrades if you're tech savvy enough and be able to utilize them for things that you want to do, because when I first bought this laptop with the 8 gigs of RAM, it was probably much more well suited for just your basic browsing and streaming Netflix and things like that. But just from upgrading the RAM alone, I've been able to edit videos, record videos, use nicer microphones than when I was recording with just the built-in webcam and microphone that's on the laptop. So I've been able to build a setup from a very basic laptop that you're seeing now. Again, overall, I am very happy with the laptop. I did mention like the overheating with the exhaust fans being on the very bottom of the case. That's the biggest concern for me. But again, having a laptop cooling pad can make that to where it's not really that big of a deal. Alright guys, so there you have it. There's my review on the HP 14-inch laptop that I use for all of my editing and recording. If you guys want to check it out, links will be in the video description. Me personally, I would say that this laptop was worth the $230 I paid for it. What do you think? Was it worth it or was it not worth it? Let me know down in the comment section. Until next time guys, have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next video.